Good day, everyone. Let's continue our discussion with managing assets, car, and housing options. So we have here the objectives of this topic. You have to implement a plan to research on selecting new car or used car, whichever is the choice of yours. Then decide whether to buy or to lease. Then identify housing alternatives, assess rental option, and perform an analysis on rent or buy. Then evaluate benefits and cost of owning a house and estimate how much you can afford for a house or a home. Describe the home buying process and choose mortgage financing that will meet your needs. With car options, you are going to choose, no? It's your option. The criteria for choosing a car is number one, affordability. Now, there is what we call as affordability ratios later on for housing project. And for a car, that all depends on the monthly installments or the down payment itself. Or if you can afford it, and it is within the bounds of your budget, then you can proceed. The next option is the fuel. What will be your choice? Gas ba? Diesel ba? Or electric ba? Wala naka-mention dito, no? Or hybrid ba? Merong gas na electric. Wala namang hybrid na gas at saka diesel, no? Then, you are going to choose either bago, new, or used na. Or nearly new. Ano ba nearly new? Kabibipi lang ng may-ari and then nailit agad dahil hindi nakabayad. So medyo malapit. Nearly new pa yung car. Then the size. Depende sa pamilya. Depende sa pamilya, gaano kadami. No? For a family of 4, hindi na kotse. For a family of 7, hindi pwede. Dapat mga AUVs na o SUV. Then body style, ano ba? Kotse, sedan, or AUV ba, or SUV ba, no? And then features, ano ba yung mga features? Ano yan? Depende sa price. Features depende sa price. Usually, pag mahal, of course, yung mga features ng sasakyan, complicated and fully electronic. The next is to consider is the price. So the price depends on if the car is basic and if the car is high-end. Ako, to be honest, yung car ko is basic. Ang ginawa ko na lang, binihisan ko yung car. Kaya yung ordinary na gulong, yung kanyang pinalitan ko. No? This, nalagyan ng mga konting colorete, mukha siyang high-end. No? Ganun lang yung technique na yun. Then for leasing, ano ba yung leasing? Just in case you wanted to opt for this kasi sa layman's term, yung nagre-rent ka, yung sa Bisaya pa, nag-arkila. No? Then we have two types of leasing, the closed-end leasing and the open-end leasing. Sorry. Ano bang kaibahan ng dalawa? Closed-end leasing is pagkatapos mag-rent, iwanan mo na yung sasakyan. Hindi mo iwanan kung mas saan. Of course, isauli mo kung saan mo siya kinuha. Then open-end leasing, ito yung pay the difference between depreciation against actual residual value of the car. Meron kasing nagre-rent na rent bitaw ni, no? So, what we are going to do, sige, gamit hanggang malaspan. To protect the interest of the owner or the lessee itself of the car, ako, I will choose open-end leasing. This means, baka mga sira niyan, sobrang laspag na ang gamit, ibabawas ko sa actual depreciation niya. So the difference will be paid by the lessee. So ang tawag sa nagre-rent, lessee. Ang nagtawag sa nagpa-rent, lessor. No? Kailan ba nagli-lease? Example niyan is yung Dole Philippines, no? Nagli-lease sila ng mga truck na maghahakot ng kanilang mga pinya. Sabihin yung truck na tagahakot, itagalabas ng company. So kung mayroon kang truck, ipasok mo sa loob ng Dole Philippines, yun ang gagamitin nila. Ililis nila yung truck mo na taga-haul ng mga pinya from production to manufacturing. Yeah? Okay. The next is manufacture. That is the financing rate on a lease similar to the interest of a loan. So, kapag financing rate of a lease similar to interest. Okay. So, yung nagpapa-rent ng ang ginamit mo na sasakyan sa Dole Philippines ay pinifinance mo rin, ano? Hindi mo binili ng cash. So, yun yung manufacturer. And then, purchase option is a price specified in lease with the leasee can buy a car at the end of the lease period. Ito yung, kumbaga sa mga taxi driver, parang lease to own. No? 5 years, 10 years, lease to own. Nag-rent sila, medyo malaki yung binabayad nila. Then after 10 years or 5 years or any duration, sa kanila na yung sasakyan. So that's another option for lease to own or purchase option. So yun lang for managing assets with car options. Now let's proceed with housing options. No? Ano ba yung mga ano dito? So for housing, dalawa lang naman ang choice. Either to buy or to rent. Hindi mo kayang bumili, hindi mag-rent ka forever. Pero aspirations talaga ng tao na may pamilya or individual ay magkakaroon ng sariling bahay, to buy a house. Sa dalawa magkakaroon ng bahay, either you construct it your own or you buy it with real estate. So yung example natin dito is when you buy a house with real estate, subdivisions, condominiums, apartments, no? The like. So the cost of ownership with real estate is includes down payment. Ang ibang term na down payment sa real estate installments are equity. O parehas lang yan. Down payment or equity is just the same. And then followed by mortgage payment. Ano yung mortgage payment? Yun na yung bayad mo every month until full payment. Then the next option that you are going to choose is the type of housing that meets your needs. Oh, kapag newlywed, pwede na single family home, magkasal. Pero pag marami ng anak, hindi na pwede. At sikip na ng bahay. No? Condominiums, meron ding for family, meron ding studio type. Yung studio type, pang single lang yun. No? Pang single or gentleman. Nag-iisa ka pa lang sa buhay. Pero pag may pamilya na, medyo malaki na ang requirement mo sa space. Then apartments and then rental units. Now, what's the benefits of owning a house or a home? Number one is tax shelter. Ano yung tax shelter? Kung magkano yung ibabayad mo sa mortgage interest, magkano yung mga property taxes, ipasok mo as an expenses, ma-reduce yung taxable income. Pero sa Pilipinas, parang hindi applicable kasi simple lang naman ang ating tax scheme, no? Wala na masyadong deduction. Pag yung income mo ay below 250,000 per year, walang tax. Simple lang, no? Wala nang deductions for exemptions and expenses. The next is the inflation hedge. Now, generally, real estate appreciates and it does not inflate. It does not depreciate. Yung value ng property sa real estate always pataas at hindi pababa. The next that we are going to do is to compute mortgage payment. Yung mortgage payment, yung monthly mo na payment. No? Okay. So let's have a drill. We have a table here of monthly mortgage payment based on the 10,000 mark. No? Actually, it is adapted with the book that we are referencing to, but I just converted it in terms of peso. Kasi ang example doon sa book is dollar. Convert mo lang siya 10,000 dollar loan sa atin, 10,000 peso loan. Anyway, the ratio is just the same as you will come up with a computation later. So how are we going to use the table? The table is just a matrix. No? If say, for example, the real estate mortgage is 8% at 25 years, 8% at 25 years, so you go on the matrix. So the factor is 77.19. Nakita nyo, class? 77.19. Now, if the real estate owner decided for a 6% monthly interest at 25 years, so the factor is 64.43. Okay? Now, if the owner of the real estate medyo gahaman sa interest, gusto niya 9% at 25 years or 20 years to pay. 25 years to pay. So the factor is 83.92. Now, yun yan gagamitin natin later on for the computation, yung results sa matrix. Okay, let's have an example. So we'd like to compute a mortgage payment of a house designed by a certain subdivision which was built at a cost of 600,000 all in all. So ang paggawa ng bahay daw, ang cost niya is 600,000, sorry. And then the subdivision owner wanted to sell it on installment as a real estate loan for 15 years at 7% interest. Ang tanong, how much is the monthly mortgage for that house? So look at 7% at 15 years. So when we intersect the matrix, the multiplier or the factor will be 89.98. Did you see, class? 89.98. So next, we are going to compute for the mortgage payment. How much is the mortgage payment? So it's just simple. Just multiply 600,000, which is the cost, times the factor itself, 89.88 pala. No? So let me stand corrected. That will be 89.88 and not 89.98. O, ganyan talaga, class. Ano yan eh, yung adlibin natin yan. So i-correct niya lang yan. Anyway, ang value niyan hindi naman magkakalayo. No? Sorry for the error. 89.88 pala yan. Not 89.98. Okay, so multiply natin ang 600,000 by 89.88 and then we will divide it with 10,000. So the result will be 600,000 times 89.88 divided by 10,000. 5,392. 6 pesos lang ang difference, no? Anyway, within the range siya, malapit lang naman siya. Let me stand corrected, ha? Hindi yan 89.98, but 89.88 according to the table. So the monthly is 5,392.8. Now, say for example, meron tayong applicant for this housing project na ang kanyang income is 15,866. The question now is it safe to grant the housing loan? Now, based on affordability ratio, the affordability ratio should not exceed 20 to 30% of the gross salary. That is based on the housing loan itself, meaning based on the 600,000 cost of the house. However, if you are going to base it on the total loan of the housing applicant, ano ibig sabihin ng total loan? O, nandyan yung credit card niya, nandyan yung mortgage niya sa kanyang motorcycle, nandyan pa yung housing loan niya itself. So lahat yun, yung mga pagkakautang niya, should not exceed 33 to 38% of his gross salary. So anong assumption natin ngayon? So kung ako ang magko-compute, I will not base it on the housing loan. I will base it on the total loan of the applicant. Diba? Mas safe ang computation based on 33 to 38% of the gross salary. Now, let's compute. No? 15,000, I will base it muna sa minimum. Ha? Ang minimum na range from the housing loan itself to the total loan is 25 to 33%. No? So 25 of 15,866 is 3,966.50. And 33% of 15,866 sorry, times 0.33, the answer will be 5,375 235.78. Now, look at the income of the applicant. That is from, ang allowed ng applicant is from, based on the minimum affordability ratio, is 3,966.50 to 5,235.78. And the monthly installment for the housing project is 5,392. Mas malaki yung monthly mortgage kaysa allowed sa affordability ratios. Tama, di ba? Pero konting-konti lang ang difference. If we have to compute 5,392 minus 5,235, ang difference lang is 157 pesos, more or less, no, within the range of 157 pesos. Now, ang tanong ngayon, safe ba na i-grant ang housing loan? Now, basing on that, parang alanganin ka, no? Kasi sobra ng 157. Pero kung ako, safe pa rin yan. Bakit? Punta tayo sa maximum. So, ang maximum range is from 30% to 38%. So, kung i-compute mo yan, 33%, 30% ng 15,866, yung punta kayo sa naka-highlight na yellow, doon sa naka-highlight na yellow. Ang result niyan is 4,559.80. And for the 38% of 15,866, the value will be 5,300, 6,029.08. So kung titingnan mo yung value ng range ng monthly installment, nasa within the range of 4,579.80 to 6,029.08. So therefore, if I am going to assess as a loan appraisor, no, the applicant is qualified for the housing loan according to the mortgage payment computation and then the affordability ratios. I hope you get it, class. Okay? Okay, next slide will be the other housing consideration. We have the property tax and insurance and maintaining and operating costs. Ano yung property tax? Yung bayaran mo sa local assessor's office, no? Yung tax. And then, anong insurance? Calamity insurance, fire insurance, just in case all those unexpected will happen, no? Then maintaining an operating cost, pintura, no? Mechanical, mayroon bang gumagalaw na parts dyan sa loob ng bahay mo? Ano siguro? Plumbing, yung tubig at saka yung pagpasok at paglabas ng tubig. Pati na yung sa CR, no? Then loan, yung sa labas, kung meron pang loan yung bahay nyo. Then electrical wirings, yes, gas, water, sewage, yun yung tubig na palabas, no? Yun yung sewage. Then we have here the home buying process. Paano ba bumili ng bahay? Particularly, dalawa lang naman yan eh, either cash or installment. Pero either cash or installment, you have to shop the market. It is available online. No? Madami available. Sa Facebook nga lang, panay ang pop-ups ng mga advertisement for condominium units sa Davao within the premise. No? Then, short sale option. Ano yung short sale option? Is a sale lesser than the balance owed to the mortgage in order to secure the property in favor of both lender and homeowners, especially during defaults. Ito yan, mga hindi na nakababayad or nagsasawa na sa lugar or hindi na happy sa isang lugar tumira. Gusto na niyang i-sale ang kanyang bahay by means of short sale option. Ano yun? Kasi for example, ang balance ng bahay is 400,000. Now, since ang reason natin basihan ay hindi na siya nakabayad, it's no longer paying for the monthly installment, you can no longer afford. But of course, before leaving the place, you can settle it with short sale. You negotiate with their mortgagor or the owner of the housing project that they will sell the house according to short sale options. Hindi na ganito, hindi na ganoon kalaki, no? Next is through an agent. Ahente, kung mabili ka ng bahay na bakit nga going back to short sale option, merong mga ganong reality sa isang subdivision na merong hindi nakakabayad. Kaya nga, short sale natin. Say for example, yung nabayad niya is already 300,000. So sa assumption yan, hindi ako magbabayad ng 300,000. So sige, assume ko yung bahay na yan at 200,000. No? Lugi dyan yung may-ari. Yung first owner ng bahay. Next is through an agent. So contact an agent in buying a house. Of course, agent man yan, merong default yan na commission. Kikita at kikita yan. No? kasama na yan sa babayaran mo yung kita niya. Next, pre-qualifying. Ano process na? Shop the market or to an agent, you're pre-qualify. Estimates of required down payment, estimates or identifies closing costs, problems, errors in the application and bargaining. Lahat na yun, no? Magkano ba ang down payment? Bago tayo magka-close ng statement, magkano ba ang magagastos ko? No? Ano ba mga problems may encounter ko later on when buying that house? Bargaining, pwede mas possible, sige, baan mo pa, no? Ano pa ba pwede kong ma-avail na discount sa bargain? And then errors in the application process. Mali ang mga data na na-provide sa application. And after that, pre-qualifying, sino ba ang mag-pre-qualify? I-gauge ng real estate ngayon. Ano? Kung dapat ba na ikaw ay i-positive yung application mo for, or i-approve yung application mo for housing loan. And then next is the sales contract. So, pipirma na ng kontrata. Ito yung magtataka ka. Ang dami mong pages na pipirmahan. Kapal-kapal, no? And then all the pages kailangan mo pumirma. No? Okay. Kasi ganun talaga pag kontrata. And then after that, closing the deal. And then you will now get a financing and loan approval. Tatawagan ka ng bangko. I-verify kung saan ka nagtatrabaho, application mo, because they will assume the balance. Now, after payment of the equity or the down payment, yung mortgager na nga ron, bangko or brokers na ang mag-assume na yung balance. No? So, kaya nga next is sources of mortgage. Either banks or brokers. Meron din mga in-house financing, no? Yung subdivision itself, hindi na pupunta sa pag-ibig, hindi na pupunta sa other loan instruments ng government, kundi siya na mismo ang kukolekta ng kanyang monthly sa kanyang alang hindi niya ipapasa ba, siya na mismo ang magpapautang ng sarili niyang real estate product sa kanyang mga housing projects. Then we have here types of mortgage loans. Fixed rate. Yung fixed rate, kung magkano yung monthly mo at the start din na rin hanggang sa matapos. Yung adjustable rate, monthly payment is adjusted on interest rate index. Ito naman, interest only. Uso ito sa mga condominium. Interest only. Option of paying interest during specified period of time in which principal will be paid after that. Ngayon, best season to buy condominium units kasi ang mga down payment ang bababa, no? Pero magtaka ka kasi after ka magbabayad within 48 months, 4 years yun, ano? Or 5 years, kasi ang turnover pala niya, ang tagal pa, no? So, itataka ka, ang balance mo, lalaki pa. No? And then, i-assume yan ng bangko or other brokers, no? Ito naman, graduated payments. So, dito sa condominium, sa una, ang liliit na mga payment, 3 to 5 years. Then after 5 years, boom, biglang mag-jack up yung mga monthly installments. Ito naman, growing equity. Fixed rate, which increases at a specific time in order to reduce paying period. Ito naman, ang paying period mo, 20 years at first. Pero pwede mo siyang gawing 10 years. No? Yung babayaran mo, palakihin. Para hindi ka naaabot sa original paying period of design. Ito naman, bi-weekly. Hindi pa ako nakakita ng ganito. Na magbabayad ka every 2 weeks. No? Every 2 weeks and not twice a month. Hindi twice a month, ha? Every 2 weeks. Kasi iba yung 2 weeks at twice a month. Twice a month is bi-monthly. Ito naman bi-weekly. Every 2 weeks ka magbabayad. Now, ang purpose nito is to accelerate the paying period na hindi ka na aabot pa ng ganong duration. Or, pagdating naman sa dulo, konti-konti na lang ang mamayaran. Next is buy downs, reducing the rate at a shorter period but will charge the difference later. Oh. Ngayon, parang ano lang to, yung graduated, no? Graduated. Ngayon, kunyari, konti pa ang babayaran mo. Uso ngayon sa condominium din ito. Konti. Ngayon, konti lang babayaran mo. Pero later on, magulantang ka na lang. Magulantang ka na lang. Laki na ng babayaran mo. After 5 years, after 4 years. Usually, may mga offer sa akin sa Facebook. Ganun, no? Parang ma-convince ka bumili ngayon, ang bababa ng mga equity, no? Pero bubulaga sa'yo yan after matapos mo yung equity. Ha? Nakakamot ka sa ulo mo, ang laki pa pala ng balance mo, hindi no retreat na. Sinaumpisahan mo na, ikaw ang lugi. Okay? So those are types of mortgage loans. Next slide will be your activities. Juan de la Serna, a professor, earns 48,000 a month. He opted to buy a condominium through mortgage. If the developer cost of a fully furnished studio-type condo is 902,000, how much is the monthly mortgage if the interest rate is 8 years, payable in 15 years? Will Professor de la Serna qualify for the mortgage? If he qualify, describe his payment situation. Okay, so that's the activity, only one activity, number 14. It will be submitted on Monday for MWF and Tuesday for TTA's schedules. Again, please observe the time frames of submission. Maayong hapon sa atong tanan.